I had survived 3 years on this alien world. 3 long, brutal years where every sunrise felt like a warning instead of a blessing. This wasn't Earth. This was Razor 9, a world of venomous forests, red moons, and creatures that hunted in silence. My ship had crashed here during a research mission. Everyone else died on impact. Only I walked away, and every day since had been a fight to stay alive. So when I heard the growling, low, hungry, and way too close, I knew exactly what was stalking me. A Vakul beast, a 6-limbed armored predator, faster than a wolf and cooler than a crocodile. They weren't supposed to hunt during daylight, but this one wasn't following instinct. It was following me. Blood dripped down my car from a strike I barely dodged. Its barbed tail had grazed me earlier, and the poison was already burning through my leg. I couldn't outrun it, not like this, so I did the only thing I could. I found high ground. Scrambling up a ridge of broken stone, I spotted a narrow cave opening just wide enough for me to slide through. I didn't think. I dove inside as the beast lunged behind me, claws raking over the rock. I pressed my back against the cave wall, forcing myself to breathe quietly. The predator prowled outside, sniffing, searching, waiting for me to make a sound. Then I heard something else. A breath. Not mine. Soft. Uneven. I froze. Was there another predator in here? I slowly turned my head. 2 faint, glowing silver-blue eyes stared back at me from the darkness. I blinked. Not a creature. A child. She was small, trembling, her dark blue skin marked with faint luminescent patterns along her jawline. She wore tribal cloth and animal hide like the hunters I had seen from afar, but she looked too young to belong out here alone. There was fear in her eyes, not the wild instinct of an animal, but human fear. She didn't move. Neither did I. Outside, the Vakul beast snarled and slammed its claws against the rock, trying to widen the entrance. I raised a finger to my lips. "Stay quiet," I whispered. She flinched, but she understood. I didn't know it yet, but this terrified alien girl would change everything. She wasn't just lost. She was the beginning of something far bigger than survival. The beast's roar shook the stone around us, each impact sending dust trickling from the ceiling. I could feel the girl's panic rising, her breathing quick and shallow, eyes darting toward the cave entrance that was slowly widening under the creature's relentless strikes. She was trapped. I was wounded. And the only thing standing between us and a shredded death was a spear I carved out of desperation months ago. I didn't even know her name, but in that moment, I knew one thing. If I did nothing, we would both die. I crouched beside her and whispered, slow and calm, "I'm going to protect you. Do you understand?" She stared at me, eyes trembling, but she nodded. Good. That meant she had hope. Hope meant she wouldn't scream. I moved toward the entrance and planted my feet. Pain shot through my leg, but I ignored it. The Vakul beast had managed to force its head and front limbs inside. Its 6 blood-red eyes burned with intelligence. These things didn't just kill. They enjoyed it. It snarled, testing the air, hunting for weakness. "Come on," I muttered through my teeth. "Come for me." The instant it lunged, I struck. The spear slammed into the soft membrane under its jaw. Not a killing blow, but enough to stagger it. It screamed, thrashing violently, the spear splintering in my hands. The shockwave of the impact almost knocked me down, but I saw something above the cave mouth. The rocks had loosened from the beast's attack. A cave-in. I grabbed a loose stone and hurled it upward. Nothing. Another. Nothing. The beast surged forward again, jaw snapping inches from my face. One more hit, harder this time. Crack! The ceiling gave way. A thunder of falling rock crushed down, slamming into the beast and pinning it half alive beneath the rubble. It screeched and twisted violently before going still. The cave filled with choking dust, and I coughed until my lungs burned. Silence followed. Heavy. Final. I turned to find her watching me, not with fear now, but with stunned disbelief. Slowly, she crawled from her corner, cautious but curious. She looked at the dead beast, then at me. I placed a hand over my chest. "Ethan." She hesitated, then pointed to herself. "Sarah," she said softly, voice melodic, alien, yet strangely gentle. So she had a name. And now, she had me. After sealing the cave entrance with what loose rocks I could move, I finally let myself breathe. The Vakul beast was dead, but the noise it made while dying would attract worse things. This planet had a food chain, and we had just announced ourselves to the top of it. "We can't stay," I said, grabbing my pack. Sarah watched me cautiously, eyes lingering on my wounded leg. The bleeding had stopped, but the poison was still burning under my skin. A smarter man would have focused on survival, his own survival, but I kept looking at her, alone, terrified, abandoned in a monster-infested forest, and I heard myself say something I didn't plan to. "I'll get you home." She blinked, surprised, maybe confused. Her people had language, but her English was broken. Still, she pointed north and said, "Tribe, far." Then she pointed to my injured leg and said something else, something quiet. "Pain." I pretended it didn't matter. "I've had worse," I lied, forcing a half-smile. She didn't smile back. We traveled through the dense forest. Branches clawed at us, vines snagged our arms. Strange glowing insects buzzed in swarms above our heads, while distant shrieks echoed like ghosts in the mist. The wild here wasn't a place. It was a living thing trying to erase us. Sarah moved silently, cautious as a hunted deer. She stayed close, never more than a few steps behind me. Twice she tugged my arm to warn me of poisonous vines or hidden sinkholes. She knew this land, yet she was still afraid. By dusk, we reached the stream. I stopped to drink and clean my wound. The poison had spread, veins darkening around the injury. I reached for my medkit, but the serum I had was old and weak. I injected it anyway. Better to slow the poison than let it win. Sarah watched with wide eyes as I treated myself. Then she surprised me. She knelt beside me and pressed a small glowing leaf to my leg. It stung, sharp and cold, but almost instantly the pain eased. "What is that?" I asked. She searched for words. "Moonleaf, healing plant. My people use." I stared at her, this child who had every reason to run from me, a human stranger, and yet she helped me. "Thank you," I said quietly. She hesitated, then nodded once. Maybe saving her wasn't a mistake. Maybe fate had its own plans. Night fell fast on Razor 9, and with night came the hunters, the real ones, the kind that stalked with silence and killed without warning. I built a small elevated shelter between two thick tree trunks using vines and broad leaves. Fire was too risky. Flames attracted eyes in the dark. Out here, light meant death. Saya sat across from me, knees pulled to her chest. She watched me with a strange mix of caution and curiosity, like she was trying to understand me. Maybe humans were just myths to her people. "Why alone?" she finally asked in broken English. I paused. That question hit harder than it should have. "My ship crashed," I said. "No rescue. No signal. No one came." She studied my face for a long moment. "Family." I swallowed. "Gone. Long time ago." She nodded, not with pity, but with understanding. Pain, it seemed, was universal. For a while, neither of us spoke. Strange glowing vines pulsed with light around us like slow heartbeats. Distant animal cries rolled through the night like thunder. Every sound felt closer than it should have been. Then, crack, a branch snapped below. I froze. Sarah did too. Something moved just outside our shelter. Something big. I reached slowly for my spear, motioning Sarah to stay low. We peered through the leaves. At first, I thought it was another predator. But predators didn't move like this. These moved with formation. 3 of them, tall, blue-skinned, armed with spears tipped with black blade-like stone. Their skin markings glowed faintly, tribal warriors. Sarah's people. She inhaled sharply. Hope lit her eyes. I raised a hand. No sudden moves. If they saw me first, they wouldn't ask questions before attacking. To them, humans were probably invaders, trespassers, dangerous. "Stay here," I whispered. She shook her head. "They think you enemy. I speak." Before I could stop her, she slipped out of the shelter and dropped down in front of the warriors. They froze, spears raised. Words were exchanged in a native language, sharp, fast, emotional. I could tell from their tone they weren't happy to see me. Then their leader looked up, straight at me. His expression hardened. And that's when I knew saving Saya wasn't going to earn their gratitude. It was going to make me their enemy. I climbed down slowly from the shelter, hands raised to show I wasn't a threat. The 3 alien warriors watched my every move, their grips tightening on their weapons. Saya spoke quickly in her language, gesturing toward me, explaining, pleading. But whatever she said, it wasn't working. The tallest warrior, broad-shouldered, skin marked with tribal scars, stepped forward. His eyes were colder than the night wind. "Human," he said in rough, broken English. "You come. Now." Not a request. An order. Saya moved between us. "No." "He helped me. He save." He cut her off with a harsh command in their language. She fell silent but glared defiantly. The warrior pointed at me again and jabbed his spear toward the forest. I had a choice then. Run and trigger a hunt I wouldn't survive, or go with them and hope they didn't kill me before sunrise. I lowered my hands. "Fine, I'll go, but I'm not their enemy." The warrior didn't react. He simply turned and started walking, expecting me to follow. 2 others flanked me, spears inches from my ribs. Saya tried to follow, but one warrior blocked her path. She called after me, voice desperate. "Ethan." I looked back. Her silver blue eyes were wide, not with fear now, but something else. Regret. Regret that she had led me straight to danger. We marched for hours through dense forest lit only by starlight and bioluminescent vines. Every step pounded the question into my head. What do her people want with me? I had seen them before, always from a distance. They were hunters, tribal, deeply spiritual. I avoided them to prevent conflict. Clearly, that didn't help. When we finally reached their territory, my breath caught. Their village didn't look primitive. It looked alive. Massive trees woven with glowing roots formed towering shelters. Rope bridges connected platforms high above ground. Fires burned in suspended stone bowls. Everywhere I looked, alien architecture blended with nature in ways humans had never achieved. But there was no wonder in the air, only tension. The villagers gathered when they saw me. Some whispered. Some stared. Others pulled their children away like I carried disease. The warriors pushed me toward a ring of carved stones. A tribunal. An elderly figure stepped forward, tall, marked with golden tattoos. His voice was calm, controlled, dangerous. "You bring the human," he said. "Good. The elders have waited 3 years for this moment." My blood ran cold. They knew I was here, and they had been watching me all along.